Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be talking about the Stormgewehr. What do you mean that's not right? You want me to say it again? The Stormgewehr. Just sound it out. Sound it out. Stormgewehr. The Stormgoer. The Sturmhauer. The Sturmgewehr. The Strudel Tosser. What do you mean that's offensive? Well, how would you pronounce it?
Sturmgewehr.
Just the storm. Okay. So today we're going to be talking about the StG 44. Y'all know I got to make fun of myself because I know I'm going to get those keyboard commandos that tell me exactly how to pronounce everything. But all pronunciation issues aside, this is where the term assault rifle had been coined. Blame Hitler, ladies and gentlemen, because he's the one that named this rifle. A name that even today even has so much hate surrounding it. It's the part of so many political discussions. And so many people think the term assault rifle came from the AR-15, thinking that it stands for Assault Rifle 15, and not the case. It stands for Armalite, and typically that's the argument and counter that you'll see from a lot of firearm enthusiasts. There is no such thing as an assault rifle. Well, there is, and you can blame Hitler for it. And in fact, to be clear, it was for marketing purposes. It was because it sounded scary. And I think it's been no mistake that Battlefield 5 has made this the most overpowered weapon of the beta. I challenge someone to tell me otherwise. The StG 44 is clearly the best weapon in the game as of right now. And I think that's so interesting given this weapon's history. And to just dive in for a second, why I do this, why I think the history and the real life aspects of guns are so important when it comes to playing them in a video game, is because this is the same research that the developers are putting in when they're going to build the weapons for this game. So I personally feel, like many others feel, that the more you know about these weapons in real life, along with their history, because it's just freaking interesting, the better capable you will be in game to know how that weapon was meant to be used. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes the developers get it wrong. But I still believe knowing the strengths and weaknesses of these weapons in real life will give you a better basis to go by when choosing which weapons are going to be right for you compared to your playstyle that you like to use. Now, what I find particularly interesting about the StG 44 is that it almost never came into existence at all. And it stems from the fact that the technology with ballistics at this time was moving so incredibly fast. I mean, just innovation after innovation, that the tactics behind this technology were having a hard time keeping up. There was a very fundamental difference in opinions on how wars should be fought. Cartridges at this time could reach targets up to 2,000 meters. I mean, it could go ridiculously far. But you can't expect somebody using iron sights to hit a target at that range. It just wasn't realistic. The iron sight would completely cover a human being after about 300 meters. Anything beyond that, and you would need to use some type of advanced sights, which to spread to your entire military just was not realistic financially. So to hit targets at that range, they depended more on machine guns, volume of fire. So then military minds started to think, okay, maybe it's the high-powered machine guns that are the primary source of fire, and it's the riflemen that support the machine guns. Well, what happens when the enemy starts to get close? Well, then you have your submachine guns like the MP40 and the good old Thompson machine gun, but even these weapons fired pistol rounds and had no effective range beyond 100 meters, and even that's being pretty generous to most users at that time. So there were some people who strongly believed that there needed to be some type of intermediate cartridge. And this is the line of thought that led us to where we are with weapons today. This line of thought, if it never happened, we would not have weapons like the AK-47. We certainly wouldn't have weapons like the AR-15 or any of the rifles that have come out from those platforms. In fact, when the idea of coming out with an intermediate cartridge came out, Hitler shut that shit down. He was like, no, we don't have the money for it, stop it. And the people that did believed in it so strongly that they hid it from Hitler, and they did it under the designation of the MP43. And they continued to work on it, and when Hitler finally found out, he was a believer. Now luckily, we were already kicking Hitler's ass at this point, and the weapon came out entirely too late to have any real effect on the outcome of the war. But if you ask me, it easily could have had an outcome on the war if it had come out sooner. I mean, think about some of the challenges that riflemen had experienced up until this point. They could only put out so much fire. The rifles weren't meant for extreme volume of fire. They were meant more really for accuracy. And they were high-powered cartridges. I mean, we're talking full-size cartridges. These suckers are heavy, so it's not like you can sit there and carry 60 rounds with you at a time. It just wasn't realistic. It was too heavy of a round. But then in comes this intermediate cartridge, and with a platform that can sustain fairly accurate automatic fire. I mean, no, it's not reaching 2,000 meters, but certainly a lot of the distances that you could expect engagements at that time period. So with the StG-44, you were kind of getting the best of both worlds, and that's exactly what we see in this game. And I see people's complaints with the StG-44. They say, why would I use a sniper rifle when I can counter snipe with the StG-44? Why would I use a machine gun with no effective range beyond a certain point when I can use the StG-44? And I say, you're right. That's the way it was designed to be used. We can even see some old photos where they would put a scope on this and expect military forces to counter snipe with it. Now, all this being said and all this being learned, does it deserve to be the best weapon in Battlefield 5? That's not really for me to decide. I think there's a lot of other really good weapons that I'd like to see better, but we are just dealing with the beta. And God knows I do have complaints that I think do need to be fixed with this to make it a little bit less overpowered. And a lot of that stems from the fact that I don't care what kind of weapon it is. I don't care how stabilized you have it. I don't care if it's mounted. If you put a scope on top of an automatic weapon and expect to have the clear line of sight and vision that you have while sustaining automatic fire, you're out of your mind. I think more accurately, you should have to switch to semi-automatic fire, stop, and then counter snipe. Or shoot somebody at a distance. What you should not be able to do is stay in fully automatic fire, sustain just pinpoint accurate fire with that scope while on the move like I've seen some people able to do. I think that is what's stemming a lot of people's frustration and calling for a nerf on this weapon is because of just some of the accuracy you can achieve with the scope on top of this weapon. Otherwise, I think this weapon is performing exactly the way it was supposed to. It was meant to be the best of both worlds. You were meant to be effective at close range, meant to be effective at long range. And with this weapon, you certainly are. It kind of shows that had this weapon come out, it very well could have affected the outcome of the war. That doesn't exactly mean that it's right, fair, or fun to see everybody in Battlefield 5 running around with an StG. But now that you know the real-world creation, application, and history of this weapon, let me know what you think. Did they get the StG right? What can they do to improve it and make it more fun and balanced within Battlefield 5? And what weapon would you like to see me take a look at next? As always, thank you for taking the time to watch my content and these silly videos about games and guns. It's what I love to do. For those who don't know, I have a history with YouTube. And I'm trying to come back full time. If you could take a second, I'd love for you to watch the video on the history of this channel, myself, and where I'm trying to take it in my Patreon link down in the description, and learn how you can be more of a part of the content that I create and where I head in the future. Thanks guys for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. This is Sergeant Merrill, out here.